one, tarnation!
I meant to do that.
Hi there folks, this is Apple Geek, and we are up to Season 9, Episode 16. Don't know what this is about, but I've been getting some major hype on this episode through friends and certain channels, and something about lots of crazy faces. Well, we've seen a lot of that this season already, so I'm not quite sure what to expect on that front other than more of the same. But in any case, I won't know until I watch it and find out. So let's give this a watch. Episode 16 starting now.
Okay,
Hi, Spike.
You know, you might get distracted by the stacks of books and copious charts, so remember what to say. Twilight, I know you're in full prep mode for Trivia Trot tomorrow, but you need to get some sleep.
Oh, no.
Nice work. You got this.
Is this going to be another Lesson 0 moment for Twilight?
This is weird.
Where is she? Oh.
Twilight, what are
Oh,
you
no.
doing?
Great question, Spike. And the answer is going to bed. Brains need 8 hours of sleep to perform at optimum levels.
Oh.
Okay.
Cool. I thought I'd have to force you to go to bed since tomorrow is your chance to be the first pony to win Ponyville Trivia 3 times in a row. That is tomorrow, right?
The answer is
Yes.
ask me another one.
Oh, no.
Another question. I want to stay in the zone. That way I can sleep in the zone, wake up in the zone, and be totally in the zone tomorrow.
That Bella's going to become annoying, I think.
This is a whole new level of
What's with the
Twilight.
Final Scratch t-shirt?
The answer is yes.
Are you okay?
The answer is yes.
Well,
Oh, no.
good luck with your brain sleep and getting that third win.
The answer is good night and yes.
That wasn't a question.
Oh, this is going to be crazy. I think this is going to be another Lesson 0 moment for Twilight or something in terms of the utter wackiness of her and the faces and all. Not sure what's up with the DJ Pone 3 shirt, but okay. Be cool if she's involved somehow. I really don't know what else to say at this point other than I'm guessing the animators had a ball with this one. I wonder what the title is.
I'm glad you decided to come watch your first Trivia Trot, Spike. I hope the rules aren't too confusing.
Rules? Isn't trivia just
A
asking
trivial
questions
pursuit.
and answering them?
The trot is a little more involved than that. Let's start with the first category of rules.
Category of
number one.
rules?
Each category must be categorically designated and thoroughly researched in all categorical participating in Trivia Trot. And that wraps up Rule 41.6. Of course, the exception to that, 41.6a, is interesting itself because...
Oh, look, we're
Did she
here.
write that rule book herself? Oh boy.
Ooh, I can't wait to see who my partner's gonna be.
You don't get to pick your own team?
Rule 20.16b, Spike. To keep things fair, the teams are
Oh,
randomly selected.
who's gonna be her partner?
6B. How could I forget?
And based on the regular attendees, I've charted every potential teammate's strengths and weaknesses, plus my percentage of winning with each one.
Wow.
Ha!
A lot of
I knew
characters
there'd
on
be a
there.
chart. Glad I'm just watching.
Surprised
I don't think I
Applejack's
can
involved.
teammate. What if I let you down?
You can never let me down, Spike, but I'm glad you're watching too. I'm gonna need all the support I can get for win number 3.
Yeah, easier said than done, I think. Oh, hey, Granny. Bo.
Well. If it ain't our
Dr.
reigning
Who's
champ,
cheerleading?
think you can win again this week, Twilight?
Every pony here has a different area of expertise, so it really is any pony's game.
Ah.
But yes! Then you better hope you get paired with me, because I am gonna rule this game!
Sure.
We'll just see about that. I've come all the way from the Crystal Empire. And I hope you realize I have the highest percentage of correct answers, and I aim to keep it that way.
I hope you realize not every
Horse noises.
category is gonna be spells so old not even Stars World the Bearded remembers them.
Oh.
I hope there's one on fur maintenance for adorable creatures.
Oh no.
I've been brushing up.
Only Fluttershy can make puns that adorable.
It won't be in the game tonight.
Rule 37.2c. No back-to-back categories. But I think Fluttershy was joking. Sure sounded like a joke to me.
Oh no. Oh no. Oh hey Larry. Rose. And
Pinkie Pie.
what are you doing? Okay. That's a wild card that Twilight was not prepared for, I guess.
I hadn't anticipated Pinkie Pie as a potential player. She's never played before. My chart is completely off.
Oh no.
Unpredictable is not good for Trivia Trot repeat.
Do I have to do that thing where I list all your successes as Princess of Friendship to put things into perspective and remind you this is just a game?
Yes, please do.
Mike, this has nothing to do with being the Princess
Oh,
of
Matilda!
Friendship. This is not just a game. This is Trivia Trot.
Okay.
Oh, Granny's presiding. Okay.
Fixing to pick these hair teams.
Oh boy, this is gonna be good.
I have to reevaluate my chart. Spike, I need you to find the part on matchups. Can you look outside?
Twilight, just roll with it, you know. No pun intended, by the way.
Granny's about
Scrolls,
to call
rolls,
up a
as
fifth
in-
team. Sunburst gave me the highest chance of winning, but he's been paired with Cranky Doodle.
Okay.
At least Rainbow Dash and Applejack
Wow.
are together. Team Apple Dash is basically unstoppable. And apart, they'll spend all their energy trying to one-up each other, so that only helps my chances. Not every team is a threat, but there aren't many ponies left.
Ouch.
Alrighty, hold on to your horseshoes. Cause the next pair of players is Maud and Mudbriar.
Oh, that's cheating.
What's wrong? Maud and Mudbriar have been paired together every week. It's a statistical improbability, which would be fine if they weren't so good. Oh no! According to my calculations, the only pony who could really threaten my winning streak is...
And our final pair of contestants.
Oh
for
no,
this
Pinkie,
week's
it's Pinkie. It has to be.
Twilight and Pinkie Pie.
Mm-hmm.
Twilight! It's you and me! Isn't that great? Yeah!
There are going to be so many memes from this episode.
Guessing the one pony who could mess up your winning streak is Pinkie.
Twilight! I can't believe we're partners for a game! I love games! And I'm super duper excited for this game because it'll be my first time ever playing and I get to play it with you!
Let me guess, Pinkie's gonna rock this.
Twilight and Pinkie Pie forever!
No pun intended. Oh,
We can be Team Twinkie! Or Team Pink Light Sparkle Pie! No!
those balloons.
Twi Pie! Pinkie, I'm glad you're excited. But tonight's game is special. I could be the first pony ever to win 3
So many
consecutive
fandom
shots in a row.
references.
And I'm really hoping I do.
You don't have anything to worry about. I'll do everything I can to be the bestest and most funnest teammate ever.
So, still think you can win?
I know I can. Pinkie might not be the partner I expected, but I can coach her along. And besides, I'm
You
pretty
know-
good at this game. If she misses a few, I'm sure I can pick up the slack.
You shouldn't be making assumptions about Pinkie's. You really shouldn't be making assumptions about Pinkie's abilities on this until you've seen her actually do this.
We need some pony to keep score.
I'll do it! I'm not sure you want to take that job, Spike. The scorekeeping can get a mite intense.
Yeah, Starlight used to do it, but now, well, I can't even say the word trivia around her.
Applebash.
What?
Let them scare you. You'll be fine. Now, let the games begin.
Get ready to get squished! Hey, don't copy me!
This music.
Category.
This music is amazing.
Literary figures.
Literary figures. Aww.
A category about books. We're off to a great start.
Aww. You left her hanging.
Pony that despises the holiday season in the old classic A Hearthwarming Tale.
The answer is no pony, because every pony ends up loving the holiday with singing, festive jokes,
Oh.
and thoughtful presents.
Incorrect.
Well, as much as that ain't exactly right neither.
Aww. Twilight. Aww.
Just doing my job, Twilight.
Sorry, I didn't know we could have negative points.
It's fine, Pinkie, but maybe it'll help our chances if I coach you as we go. Tip 1, try sitting still.
Can do, Coach Twilight.
That
Don't get distracted or be distracting. Oh, and remember to listen carefully. Also, it's best to keep quiet between questions.
Got it.
you're gonna turn her into Pinkamena at this rate.
Sitting still, sitting still.
Which topographical locale used to be a cavern, but after thousands of years of erosion is now a gorge.
Pinkie, what?
The answer is the Ghastly Gorge.
Dad.
That is 100% correct!
Aww. 11. What? Wow. I.
Category is apples.
I didn't hear you complain when the category was Wonderbolt history.
That's totally different.
How?
Okay, Pinkie, remember the category is apples. Keep your mind on apples.
Apples, 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 apples. Ooh, and oranges, and grapes, and strawberries. Strawberry cupcakes! I'm hungry.
Which variety of apple only blooms for 5 days?
Zap apples.
Choke. Now, why would I choke on a question about apples? What was the question again?
No repeats.
Me.
Come on, Pinkie, you know this one. Mysterious apples, only around for 5 days.
Oh.
Quiet down there. Your tummy's ringing in. I'm just guessing, but is it Zap apples?
Finally! Yes, Fluttershy, it is. Or at least some pony here knows their apples.
Dishonor! Dishonor on you! Dishonor on your cow!
1 minute left in the refreshment/bathroom break.
Spike! I don't think I can coach Pinkie well enough for us to get my three-peat. I don't want her to feel bad. She's trying so hard, but I might have to start answering everything myself.
Look, Twilight.
Why
No more belly
don't
roll
you?
instructions for Team
I mean,
Maybe instead of focusing on Pinkie, you should just focus on how you're playing.
Or I should look at how every pony else is playing.
Hope you're all in your seats, cause the break is over, and it is time for more
Okay.
questions. Let me see.
I'm surprised Sunburst isn't doing very well either.
Word in Old Ponyish.
Ooh.
Reward in Old Ponish is hit.
Correct.
Okay.
Sleeping.
What?
Sunburst's partner is sleeping, and according to Rule 57.6, sleeping at the table is subject to a disqualification.
Oh.
Well, looky here.
You are technically
That's
correct.
true.
The best
Pinkie
kind
is
of correct.
disqualified. I'm sorry, Sunburst. Without your teammate, you can't play neither.
Oh, fine. But I'm counting that as a correct answer. Stay awake for 5 minutes.
Don't worry, Pinkie, we're not out of this game yet.
You know, if you play the rules like that, you're gonna make a lot of enemies.
Rule 13.2, no help from pets. Rule 72.8, no sticking tongues out at opponents.
Wow.
Motion to establish new rule, no expressionless contestants.
Oh, come on.
Nice try.
Fine.
The next category is cupcakes.
Oh, no.
All about those. You'll have to let me help.
Sure. You're finally back in the game. Why, that sounds perfect, Pinkie, but... Ooh, that a confetti appreciation parade I see? Where?
Oh, come on.
Flavor cupcakes. Did Princess Celestia order for Princess Luna's surprise birthday party last year?
Pinkie made that order.
Double midnight chocolate fudge with chili pepper frosting. Correct!
Okay, how?
I knew that!
And
I made those cupcakes!
yeah.
Sorry, Pinkie, but you were looking at the parade and I didn't want our team to miss out on the point.
Guess that makes sense, but what kind of that confetti parade go anyway?
Twilight.
1547, Coney PE.
These faces.
Van Hoover!
Oh.
Kitty Pox!
Cutie Puck. Ooh.
The category is sticks and stones.
Oh.
I don't know anything about those. It's not any kind of category.
Technically, it's a kind of category where we know the answers and you don't.
Oh. Savage.
I grew up on a rock farm. I'm sure I know some of these.
What kind of stone can be used to start a fire?
The black one!
The answer is flint.
Oh.
There's one. We both get points, right?
Sorry, Pinkie. Rule 4. Answers must be specific and exact. I'd help you if I could. I know this category pretty well.
Gee, Pinkie, I forgot the name of that famous rock in Griffinstone. Could you ask Maud?
You got it. Hey, Mom! What's the name of the famous rock in Griffinstone?
Pinkie,
What?
you can't ask me that.
Well, sure I can. I just did.
What is happening here?
You can't go and ask another player about rocks when that's the category. It's in the rule book somewhere. Sorry, Pinkie, but you're disqualified.
Aww.
What?
I can't believe I'm disqualified.
I'm sorry, Pinkie. I guess I forgot about that rule.
Oh, no! If I'm out, you don't have a partner. You won't be able to get your third win.
Actually, since there's another player who has also had his teammate disqualified,
Rule 19.7,
You-
whereby players whose teammates were disqualified may form a new team.
Oh, okay. I'll just cheer you on from over there.
I am extremely disappointed in Twilight right now.
The next category is ancient legends.
oh, we're gonna crush this round.
Twilight, you seem out of the zone today. But don't worry, I can pick up the slack.
What?
Oh.
I'm the reigning Trot champ. If there's any slack that needs picking, I'll be the up. I mean, wait.
I'm just saying, you seem a little frazzled, and I do have a correct answer percentage to maintain.
Who traveled to a
She gonna get a taste of her own
creature from
medicine?
a distant land, seeking to steal the magic from its pony inhabitants?
T-Rex.
That would be Lord Tirek.
Wait, no.
Technically, that answer is incomplete. The answer is
No.
Lord T-Rex
And
Scorpion.
But
Yes.
Scorpion tried to convince Tirek not to do it, so technically he was.
But he originally came with the intention of stealing the magic. Uh-huh. Yep, he's... Is this what you call instant karma?
Look, Sunburn. I may have been a little off earlier, but I'm really good at this game.
How many holes are there in Daring Do's hat?
Did Dash... Of course she would know that. Oh.
Twilight, I knew that one! You just cost us a point, and the correct answer I needed to boost my percentage!
Well, I knew it too. You're not the only pony to ever read a book, you know.
You're right, Twilight. I'm sorry, but now that I think about it, I'm not so sure about Dash's answer. Could you do a quick fact check?
Oh, I know it's 20, but if you want proof, Wait, according to Rule 18.3, I can't check outside reference material. Are you trying to get me disqualified? What kind of pony would do that to their own teammate?
Yeah, really?
You're right, Twilight. I don't know what got into me. I was so focused on my correct answers, I wasn't thinking straight. Can you forgive me?
It's okay, Sunburst. I understand. And I have a teammate of my own to apologize to.
Yes,
Lucky
you
for
do.
Cranky's awake. And according to Rule 57.6b,
Players previously disqualified for sleeping may rejoin the game, provided they're well rested.
Yeah, where am I? What time is it? Where are my morning hay cakes?
Who made these rules?
Pinkie, you were the best teammate I could ask for. But I let wanting to win keep me from seeing that.
I knew you wanted to win, but I probably could have helped a little. And even if I couldn't.
We still could have had fun. I'm so sorry for not
Exactly.
realizing it. I got so obsessed with one thing, I forgot what really mattered.
No, that doesn't sound like you at all.
Oh!
Well, win or lose, nothing is more important than my friends.
She deserved that.
Or my team. Twi-Pie forever?
I don't know.
I understand.
Aww.
I guess even the Princess of Friendship can mess things up with her friends.
Oh, it's not that. It's just that I already changed it to Team Twipers, and now I guess I just change it to Sundoodle?
Actually, I have a better idea. According to Rule 13.2,
Now what?
players can join the game at any time, provided they start from 0.
Wow, these rules are really convoluted.
Yeah, no kidding!
0 mean we'll lose?
Well, our chances aren't good, but the odds of having fun on Team Twi-Pie are 100%.
How long does this game go on anyway? Let me guess, next question is the last question?
What is the name of the Ponyville Day Spa's most popular candle?
Competitive Library Musk.
Good play.
No.
Oh! Why is Derpy locked out? Oh. Oh. Well, I'm glad she finally learned her lesson. I guess I'm a little surprised it went that far with Twilight at this point, but yeah, give me some time to collect my thoughts on this. Stay tuned, I'll be right back. Alrighty, so Ponyville has their own kid-friendly version of Bar Trivia Night, known as the Trivia Trot. Naturally, this is something that Twilight is very interested in, or rather, completely obsessed with. I was actually a bit surprised at first to see so many others so involved with it as much as they were, but it's obviously a highly popular community event, and of course everyone has certain categories of knowledge that they excel at, so the playing ground is honestly pretty equal in a lot of cases. And of course the random team pairings help level the playing field too, which of course Twilight had already scienced the heck out of so that she had a strategy for every conceivable teammate pairing, or so she thought. But in the end, she obviously failed to account for the epic wild card known as Pinkie Pie. Oh, and by the way, the building where this event was held seems to be quite a versatile establishment. It's the exact same location as the Hayburger restaurant, as seen back in Twilight Time in Season 4, and also the stand-up comedy club where Maud was performing at in The Maud Couple just last season. Of course, this is basically just a convenient recycling of existing assets for locations in Ponyville, in terms of, animation reasons, but for an in-universe explanation, my headcanon is that the restaurant went out of business, and since then it's basically been converted into a community event center. So either that or it's like an entire string of failed businesses, which is sad, but it happens. Anyway, like I said, it makes sense why Twilight would be all over this, because she loves books and knowledge. Also, she likes to be the best at her knowledge of things in books. And given that she apparently already had won this event twice before, it makes sense that she wanted to win a third time and set this brand new record that nobody had done before. All that is fine and well to a point, but at the end of the day, it is just a game, meaning above all else, whether you're participating or observing, you should be there for the purpose of having fun. Unfortunately, as we all know, it's far too easy to get so wrapped up in games and other forms of entertainment that we start taking things a little too seriously and get too competitive over them. And when things don't end up going our way in those competitions, it's all too easy to go a bit off the rails over it. I mean, the parallels for this in our world are plentiful, whether it's professional sports, video game or card game tournaments, Star Trek versus Star Wars, Who's Best Pony, and so on. And honestly, there are some people who can be perfectly nice, happy, caring, kind people in most cases. Then they get into a competitive game situation and they basically just become complete monsters. Yes, those people do exist, unfortunately. Now, I don't fault Twilight at all for wanting to win, because healthy competition really is a good thing. Now, after all, competing forces you to challenge yourself to improve, which has value regardless of whether or not you actually win. That said, I really had a major problem with Twilight's behavior in this episode. Yes, as we all know, and as I even called out quite early in my reaction, this episode was effectively Lesson 0 2.0, with the way Twilight was going completely bonkers. But therein lies the problem. Lesson 0 was all the way back in Season 2. With all the growing up that she's done over the years, especially with the many hard lessons she's learned on her journey as the Princess of Friendship, I honestly never would have imagined that she would stoop so low as to intentionally get one of her closest friends disqualified from the game, just so she could have what she perceived as a better chance of winning. I personally feel like this story would have done much better for her back in maybe Season 4 or 5, before she really figured out truly what being the Princess of Friendship was all about and really settled into that role. That's not to say that she can't still make mistakes, because nobody is perfect. Of course she's going to still make mistakes from time to time. But this one in particular just really felt kind of over the top, because she hurt Pinkie Pie really badly, and for no good reason other than her own stubborn pride. However, after some input from some of my friends and some further reflection, I do think that this is actually something that Twilight would be capable of at this point, because of one specific personality flaw of hers that just never seems to go away. Twilight frequently gets into situations where she obsesses over one single thing and loses sight of what's really important and starts making critical mistakes. I know I've called it several times in past reactions where Twilight has a problem of becoming oblivious to the world around her when she gets fixated on something. Sometimes this is just as simple as like how she would ignore Spike at times and whatever, but there's some bigger issues too. Lesson 0 obviously was a good example. That was like one of the first good examples of this, or the first couple anyway, where she got hung up on the task of fixing a friendship problem to the point of manufacturing one that didn't exist, just so she had something to report back to Princess Celestia. Actually, I think the first one was... I'm forgetting the episode title now. Sorry, I didn't actually write this one down, but middle of Season 1, where she became obsessed with Pinkie's, Pinkie sense and trying to science that and whatever. It's About Time is another example, where she got so obsessed with trying to prevent an unknown disaster that she actually created a causal loop in space-time. And What About Discord? She got so obsessed with trying to... with needlessly reorganizing her library once again, that she missed out on some great fun time with her friends and Discord, and then began obsessing over what she missed, just creating and tried to recreate the events, just making a bigger and bigger mess as she went along. And of course in the movie, she got so fixated on the goal of reaching the hippogriffs for, the magic fix-it button, that she ended up attempting theft of their magic pearl and then unfairly snapped it at Pinkie Pie and the rest of her friends. I could go on, but you get the point. Now, all these cases are, of course, unique in their own right, and she did learn lessons that were specific to each of those situations, but yet this common flaw amongst all of this has persisted. Now, once again, we get an episode where this flaw is once again put into the spotlight, and I'm really hoping that this is the last time it needs to be spelled out for her. Her desire to be the best at trivia wasn't inherently wrong, but the way that she mistreated all of her friends in the process was most definitely wrong, and that includes all the contestants, not just Pinkie Pie. Sure, some of the other contestants were indeed breaking the rules, like Cranky Doodle, who was sleeping, and Fluttershy, who got some help on an answer from Angel Bunny. So those were technically fair penalty calls on Twilight's part. You know, it was actually Twilight's intent in the matter that really bothered me. Her goal at that point was to win by any means necessary, which apparently included finding ways to eliminate opponents based on technicalities rather than by just being the best trivia player. Had she continued down that path, she probably would have found that she had a lot fewer friends when it was all said and done, especially if she ended up actually winning after all of that, with everyone else feeling like they got unfairly cheated out of it due to silly, overcomplicated rules. And I think Twilight would have also eventually ended up feeling like she didn't earn it and kind of cheated, because winning by means of your opponent's disqualification doesn't really prove anything about your own abilities. I mean, that's why you're basically there, to show that you're the best at something. The worst mistakes, though, were with how she treated Pinkie Pie. Now, I do have to give credit to Twilight for at least making an attempt to coach Pinkie on the game. And, and she did give her a number of good opportunities to try and come up with the answers and answer the questions properly. And Pinkie did, of course, need a little bit of help for this, because she was clearly unaware of some of the primary rules, like the requirement for complete and precise answers. Pretty much everything else that Twilight did, though, was getting me rather peeved. I already mentioned the rule technicalities, but what really set me off was when she just flat out lied to Pinkie to distract her from potentially answering a question wrong, right after she'd managed to get them caught back up in the scoring. She just, like, we're finally back on track, I don't want to risk it now, kind of a mentality. Then she proceeded to shut out Pinkie in every way possible, even to the point of getting her disqualified, just so she could pick up Sunburst as her new and improved partner. And then she lied again about how she forgot about the rule that other players could rejoin the game like that. She didn't forget at all. That was completely intentional. Add to this the fact that she's both the Princess of Friendship and head mayor of the School of Friendship, and now you have a situation where her behavior is doubly bad because the levels of selfishness and hypocrisy are off the charts for someone in her position. I can only imagine the looks on the faces of the Young Six and the other students had they witnessed this event. One other thing I'd like to point out is that Twilight really didn't give Pinkie enough credit. She basically had made up her mind right from the start that Pinkie wasn't really going to be much help at all, and that she was going to have to hold Pinkie's hoof the whole way just so she wouldn't feel left out of the game. Now, Pinkie is admittedly, a bit scatterbrained at times, and, she tends to view the world through rose-colored glasses a lot, hence answers like the very first question she tried to answer. But she's definitely not stupid, and I think there are definitely areas where she could have helped, such as with the cupcakes category. Also, she knew that Twilight wanted to win, and I think she wanted to help Twilight out in any way that she could, even if it meant letting her answer most of the questions and mostly be there just for moral support. After all, I think it's fair to say that Pinkie is one of the least selfish ponies in all of Equestria, and her ultimate goal is to see the smiles on on the faces of all of her friends. Remember the Smile song? Twilight certainly would have had a huge smile on her face if she was able to win that third time, and I think Pinkie would have felt a lot worse if she thought that she was holding Twilight back from doing her best than she would have by just not getting to answer very many questions. Thankfully, in a case of rather poetic justice, Sunburst was getting just as bad as Twilight in terms of trying to win at all costs, and ended up treating her the exact same way that she had been treating Pinkie, thus leading Twilight to finally realize her mistakes and offer Pinkie a very heartfelt apology. To be honest, I initially thought that Pinkie let her off way too easy on this one, and part of me still kind of thinks that. Like, it happened so fast, I didn't know if it really had the right impact. but after rewatching that confession scene a few times, I'm more okay with it now. For one thing, Pinkie is not really one to hold grudges, so, it wouldn't have made sense for her to be angry too long. And she did manage to throw a little shade in Twilight's direction there with that sarcasm, so, that was kind of fun to see from her. Also, I really liked how Twilight was, how she very clearly identified her flaw of getting too obsessed with one thing and forgetting about what was really important, and especially her admission that even the Princess of Friendship can mess things up with her friends. It was one of those cases where she knew that she had messed up bad and was prepared to accept that it might take some time to repair her relationship with Pinkie. I think it was also a little bit of a wake-up call for her, a realization that it's all too easy to fall back on old habits and mistakes, even when you have big titles, celebrity status, and a reputation for spreading the positive message of friendship. We all need reminders like this in our lives from time to time, which is why the lessons in this show are so great. Fortunately, like I said, Pinkie doesn't hold grudges, and after she got refocused on what really mattered, I applaud Twilight's willingness to get back in the game with Pinkie so they could try to still have some fun together, even though there was really not much chance at all of actually winning. That honestly proved to me that she learned her lesson pretty well, because, with chances of winning slim to none, that's beside the point, then, that she was just there to have fun with her friend. And given that first answer where they crossed over each other with both wrong answers, that's more the kind of fun that you'd expect to have with a friend like that. So, a buddy of mine actually brought up an interesting thing. It would have actually been kind of a fun twist in this episode, where instead of Pinkie not being able to answer questions well and getting shut out, what if she had just this bizarre way of working things through in her mind where she's muttering incoherent, unrelated things, and then all of a sudden comes up with the correct answer time after time after time, and becoming just completely ruling the trivia game over seemingly no logical thought pattern whatsoever. That would have been a fun twist on this, but I think that would have taken a little bit of the spotlight away from Twilight where it needed to be anyway. So just, fun ideas. But anyway, so, to sum this all up, as I mentioned before, games are supposed to be fun, but, fun can be a very subjective thing. In Twilight's mind, winning a third time in a row is what she'd considered to be fun. And given the way that she obsesses over things, she was determined to have fun by reaching her goal of a third win. What she failed to realize from the start is that the real fun here was in playing games with her friends, and that playing with Pinkie Pie could make for one of the most fun rounds of Trivia Trot ever. If you only find fun in winning, you will quite often walk away pretty sad and depressed, because there can only be one winner, and quite often it's not you who wins. If, however, you find fun in just playing the game, then you will always leave happy to some degree, whether or not you actually won. Maybe you won't be as happy as you'd be if you actually won, of course, but if you're at least having fun playing the game, winning is more like icing on the cake at that point, whereas if you're playing only to win, and you end up losing, it's like getting no dessert whatsoever. That's not to say you shouldn't play to win. Like I said before, competition can be a healthy thing. But if all you're focused on is winning, then you can end up doing exactly what Twilight and Sunburst so selfishly did. Winning should never come at the expense of your friends and relationships. So that's our takeaway on this. Only time will tell, but I'd like to think that Twilight finally learned this lesson well, and will be much less likely to obsess over trivial things in the future, especially when friendships are at stake. I think it's also very important for her to address this flaw, especially now when she's on the verge of becoming the new ruler of all of Equestria. There will be many things in that job where she could end up obsessing over in typical Twilight fashion, but if she can manage to stay focused on what's the most important and learn to delegate tasks properly, I think she'll honestly do quite well in the position. So anyway, thanks for watching, everyone, and I hope to return again very soon for the next episode. See you later.